Thank you so much, everyone, for being here, especially during Wildfire Preparedness Week. Today, you'll hear from vital partners and those directly implementing the important work that we support, and I appreciate all their time and perspective. As we stand here today, New Mexico is currently engulfed by the Cap Canyon and Hermit's Peak fire, which have destroyed close to 170 homes, burning more than 145,000 acres and prompting evacuation orders for thousands of residents and a disaster declaration by President Biden. Here in California, we just had the driest quarter ever on record, and the prognosis for the months ahead is bleak. We have an ever-growing dismal snowpack, continued minimal rainfall. We continue to record high temperatures with volatile fuels surrounding us. Last year, over 8,600 fires, including the Dixie Fire, Caldor Fire, and more, burned close to 2.5 acres across the state. Over 3,600 buildings were destroyed by the wildfires, and at least 7 firefighters, two civilians were injured battling these fires. And in 2020, the California wildfire season was a record-setting year, with 33 deaths and 4.3 million acres burned, costing the state around $12 billion, destroying over 10,000 buildings. And I think we are all asking the same questions. Why is it getting worse? What have we learned? What can we do? Today, together, we hope to answer these questions and offer a sense of hope within a somewhat stark reality. As you watch and listen, I encourage you to stay vigilant. It will take every single one of us to do our part to be educated, engaged, empowered, and prepared to help prevent wildfires. So why is it worse? A recent alarming United Nations report warned us that the number of extreme wildfires is expected to increase 50% globally by the end of the century, and that governments are largely unprepared. Well, for one thing, we know climate change has contributed to creating long-term historic drought, causing above normal, hotter and drier conditions, leading to dry vegetation and soils, which increases catastrophic wildfire behavior. We are also seeing an increase in populations living in the WUI, or wildland-urban interface. California has the most people living in the WUI, or 32% of all housing units. More than 11 million Californians, roughly a quarter of the state's population, live in high-risk wildfire areas known as the WUI. And until now, we haven't seen the level of attention around wildfire mitigation and prevention, nor have we had the resources now being made available to combat wildfires. And we at the California Fire Safe Council are grateful for mitigation and prevention being made a priority. As a nonprofit 501c3 organization with the mission to serve as California's leader in community wildfire risk reduction and resiliency, we provide grant funding to over 300 local fire safe councils, resource conservation districts, fire agencies, and other nonprofit and mitigation groups to conduct wildfire mitigation and prevention projects. We also provide direct resources and assistance to fire safe councils and mitigation groups to be successful in implementing their work. We've provided over $118 million in grant funding to local organizations throughout California over the last 2 decades. Since 2014, close to $36 million in CFSC grant funds have been utilized for mitigation efforts, resulting in over 158,000 acres treated, 300 plans created, 30,000 educational items created, and more. Last year, we awarded more than 85 grants to increase community resiliency, hosted more than 40 webinars, workshops, and community outreach events, and adopted and applied GIS technology across our programs. Approximately 87% of all total expenses, or nearly $6.3 million, went directly to grant awards and programs and resources distributed to wildfire mitigation groups across the state. And so what have we learned? As the executive director for the California Fire Safe Council, I have seen what is possible in partnership when we collectively take action. I have seen what is possible when we have the vital resources we need to take action. And I have seen what is possible when we put those resources to work. As shared in the Governor's California Wildfire and Forest Resilience Action Plan, we have reconfirmed our understanding of the urgent needs in building community resilience, which in part relies on hardening homes, buildings, and infrastructure, increasing defensible space and fuel breaks, and strengthening community planning and preparedness, expanding and increasing efforts to encourage, educate, enforce, and assist communities with creating defensible space, especially when done together with home hardening efforts, is essential to improving a home's chance of survival and helps protect firefighters when they're defending your home. Increased fuel breaks are vital to slow the spread of fires in the WUI and provide anchor points for fire personnel, and improving evacuation route planning and other community planning activities are lifelines for success. We also know increasing individual action leads to community action, which is the best way to educate and empower residents to work together. No matter what we do, we will not be successful unless communities mobilize, engage, and take collective responsibility. And historically, California's efforts to protect communities from wildfire focus primarily on suppressing fires. But the state's approach has been evolving, and what we're seeing now are state and federal governments providing more funding and resources for wildfire mitigation and prevention efforts, which will aid in progress towards increasing community resiliency. We are appreciative of this life-preserving shift and applaud the governor and longstanding champions like Senator Dianne Feinstein for their unwavering support. Later, we're going to hear from Senator Feinstein's office as they're here with us today. So what can we do? The pace, scale, and workforce needed to implement and sustain this work across the state is great. With nearly $1 billion in state funding for wildfire prevention approved last year and a newly proposed $1.2 billion towards wildfire resilience this year, CFSC continues to strengthen its reach and coalition building efforts and fund capacity building, offer technical assistance, and provide mentorship and guidance and additional support to our wildfire mitigation groups to ensure both funded and unmet needs are met. To that end, we're providing over $9.8 million in grant funding by supporting an empowered workforce to coordinate and get the job done, financing the mitigation projects that are proven to be effective, and we're conducting these projects across the state in wildfire-prone areas. We recently launched our County Coordinators Program, which provides funding directly to counties to hire fire-safe coordinators to serve as county-wide central figures for educating, encouraging, and developing county-wide collaboration and coordination among local wildfire mitigation groups. So far, we have awarded 24 counties with awards totaling $2.4 million, and we're expanding the program to more than 24 additional counties this summer. You will hear from one of our fire safe coordinators, Danielle Bradfield from Sierra County, a little bit later. Later this year, through funding from California Climate Investments in partnership with the Regional Forest and Fire Capacity Grant Program, the CFSC will be offering capacity building grants to state helping with staffing, outreach, and other needs that will assist groups on the ground in successfully managing the essential prevention and mitigation work they're conducting. Beginning this summer, a total of over $3 million in grant funding will also be dedicated to evacuation route creation, planning, and maintenance under our Wildfire Evacuation Route Planning and Development Grant Program. Additional tools and resources will be dedicated to creating defensible spaces, community fuel breaks, and home hardening plans on a community level through our Defensible Space Assistance Program, committing $3 million towards defensible space treatments for low-income, senior, and disadvantaged communities in high-risk zones across the state. Funding for these projects are provided by the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection's Wildfire Prevention Program as part of the California Climate Investments Program. And we're thankful for their commitment and happy to have CAL FIRE here today. Additionally, as part of the CFSC's previous Listos Outreach Toolkits and Trailers program, 13 custom-built wildfire preparedness trailers and 42 toolkits were awarded to local community partners and fire safe councils. The goal of the program is to execute dynamic preparedness programs in regions spanning from San Diego County to Los Angeles County to Ventura County to Sacramento, Placer County, Sonoma County, El Dorado County, and more. And we're honored to have received notification of renewed funding from this program through Cal OES, who also stands with us here today. Further, through funding from PG&E and our Ready and Resilient grant program, we're helping to improve community hardening with direct project assistance and coordinated communications and capacity building in high and very high fire hazard severity zones in wildland urban interface communities. Lastly, through our federal partner, the U.S. Forest Service, also here with us today, we just closed our 2022 State Fire Assistance Grant application period, which will ultimately award up to over $1 million to organizations throughout California that support fire risk reduction activities, such as fuel hazard mitigation, vegetation treatments like chipping, thinning, burning, or grazing, community hazard mitigation planning, such as community wildfire protection plans, and prevention, mitigation, and education activities. You will hear from the City of Corona Fire Chief Brian Young, whose department was a recipient of a previous state fire assistance grant, talk about the funding they received to create the city's first community wildfire protection plan. Yet, as we increasingly and rapidly race to conduct and implement these projects through our nonprofit and other constraints, while we're taking giant steps in the right direction, the unmet need still outweighs available funding and capacity, and will continue to unless individuals and businesses take action and support these efforts, which we need now more than ever before. We need individuals to take action by being aware, prepared, getting involved, and supporting our efforts. We need the corporate sector's support so that together we can all make a difference and provide sustainable long-term assurances around our livelihoods. If we all work as one team, we can accomplish anything. And as Californians, we know by now that we're all affected in one way or another by wildfires. Whether we're faced with the tragic fate of having to evacuate or inhaling the lingering toxic smoke that impacts our health and livelihoods, the cost of doing nothing is everything. And to give you a sense of the scale of need, consider this. Based on a recent survey of our grantees, we estimate on the low end that likely there's approximately $924 million in project funding needs for fuel reduction, CWPP projects, and more for all of our groups, and about half of that for capacity funding needs, such as staffing, outreach and engagement, and sustainability. Now, we know these efforts work. As one small example, on a large scale, the Sierra Resource Conservation District reported that through one of our U.S. Forest Service grant awards, they were able to save 5 homes in the face of the Creek Fire in 2020. We can see before and after pictures and maps of where funded fuel breaks create a distinct line between destruction and resilience. So with support from individuals and corporations, we can increase mitigation of these wildfires. Something that everyone can do is be prepared, alert, and be safe. Sign up for alerts, plan ahead, heed red flag warnings, and listen to authorities. Be cautious during the summer months, especially before camping and hitting the road for the outdoors. Pack a go bag and evacuate when told to do so. You can find resources and tips on creating defensible space and more on our website at cafiresafecouncil.org. And please get involved with your local Fire Safe Council. You can find your nearest Fire Safe Council by visiting our website at cafiresafecouncil.org. Now I'm very, very pleased to turn it over to Steve Hawks, Staff Chief of Wildfire Planning and Engineering with CAL FIRE. Thank you.
Thank you, Hetty, and thanks to the California Fire Safe Council for inviting us here today. As Hetty mentioned, I'm Steve Hawks, Staff Chief of CAL FIRE's Community Wildfire Preparedness and Mitigation Division. Many large destructive wildfires have burned throughout California in recent years, and unfortunately, many of you may have experienced them firsthand. California's hot, dry, windy climate, combined with flammable vegetation and a diverse topography, provide for the perfect conditions a wildfire needs to become very intense and destructive. Let's not forget, too, that homes can be a source of fuel for the wildfire. Homes are exposed to wildfire through 3 different avenues: embers, direct flame contact, and radiant heat. It is anticipated that as many as 60 to 90% of the homes that are damaged or destroyed through wildfire occur either directly or indirectly because of embers. However, there are mitigation measures that property owners can take to give their home a fighting chance to survive a wildfire. This week, CAL FIRE, along with the California Fire Safe Council, is promoting Wildfire Preparedness Week. It's a perfect time to remember that the coupled approach of defensible space and home hardening give the property owner and the home the best chance of surviving and preparing homes and communities for wildfire. CAL FIRE has a long-standing relationship with the California Fire Safe Council. This relationship allows us to work closely with each other to implement important programs across California that help prepare communities and property owners for the inevitable wildfire. CAL FIRE is proud to work alongside the California Fire Safe Council to offer financial assistance to strengthen the preparedness of communities from wildfire. This funding from the California Climate Investments Program provides for the county coordinator positions to educate, encourage, and develop countywide collaboration and coordination amongst the various wildfire mitigation groups acting across California. We're also providing funding for defensible space projects to assist seniors, low-income residents, and people with disabilities to come into compliance with the defensible space requirements. And we are also providing funding for evacuation route planning, creation, maintenance, and signage along roadways. By working together with the California Fire Safe Council and all our partners in wildfire prevention, we can be prepared and prepare communities for wildfire. To learn more about how you can prepare for wildfire, please visit readyforwildfire.org. Thank you very much. And it is my pleasure to announce the Fire Chief Brian Young of the Corona Fire Department.
So we can navigate these big trucks. It's a distinct honor to be here today as we focus on Wildfire Awareness Week, especially from a local government perspective, and more importantly, a direct grant recipient. So we'll kind of talk about the wonders that come with that. So it's evident to everyone that calls California home that the threat of wildfire transitioned a long time ago from being an emerging threat to an enduring one. The threat's not solely based on the isolated portions of the state. It affects everybody equally, from the Mexico border all the way to the Canadian border. It's hitting everybody hard. So whether the initiatives are focused on just one of our state's 1,000+ cities or entire counties or the entire state, the dedicated focus of the California Fire Safe Council is really amazing, and it's apparent to all. And it seems like it's exponentially increasing, especially with the support that we're getting from all of the state and federal partners. I think more importantly, the California Fire Safe Council is actively engaged in scaling a culture that's going to best deal with this enduring threat that we're dealing with. So I always like to throw in some quotes. In the spirit of collaboration, Mark Twain said it well, synergy is the bonus that's achieved when things work together harmoniously. And that's exactly what we're all striving for here today as we deal with this enduring threat. The strong network of established partnerships support wildfire prevention activities such as defensible space, community fire planning, and I think one of the most important portions is education. So you're going to hear from a Fire Safe Council later. While numerous areas of the state have local fire safe councils that have been in existence for multiple decades, there's still several others, like the city of Corona, for example, that are just now starting up a fire safe council. And it's through the support of the California Fire Safe Council grant that make these type of endeavors possible. A Community Wildfire Protection Plan, or CWPP, was the direct result of the City of Corona's grant award. To give you some context from a local government perspective, 170,000 population in the City of Corona. We have 50 established homeowners associations, 15,000 homes, and 48,000 residents that are in direct proximity to wildland urban interface. So a lot of times when we look at the local government perspective, we look at it as a very small scale, but it really isn't that. It's definitely something that can be looked at in all different shapes and sizes. So when the Community Wildfire Protection Plan was actually developed, it identified key areas of our fire environment in our community. It provided a science-based hazard and risk assessment, identified the values at risk, and most importantly, it established initial mitigation strategies for us to focus on. The development of the Community Wildfire Protection Plan also helped the community refine its priorities to best protect life, property, and our critical infrastructure in that wildland urban interface. And then most importantly, it created that foundation for us to set up a Fire Safe Council, which we're affectionately calling Fire Safe Corona. And then further serving the community using that grant allocation, we created an interactive online web-based story map that creates the ability to disseminate information about the Community Wildfire Protection Plan in a digital platform easily accessible by all of our residents. And once again, this valuable tool was a direct result of the State Fire Assistance Grant Program. So a big, strong thank you to the California Fire Safe Council for being an advocate for collaboration in the wildfire preparedness arena for all impacted partners, regardless of size or geographic boundaries. So with that, it's my pleasure to introduce Ryan Burris, the Deputy Director of Recovery for Cal OES.
Good morning. First, I would like to thank the California Fire Safe Council for holding this great event today. My name is Ryan Burris. I'm the Deputy Director for the Governor's Office of Emergency Services. You know, I am proud to stand here today, shoulder to shoulder with my colleagues as we prepare for what, as you all hear, is going to be another long fire season. And that means, you know, a lot for us. The last 2 years, we lost over 6 million acres. Since 2016, we lost 50,000 structures and over 35,000 homes. It's incredible. Every year, it seems like we lose another city, another community. We have a lot of counties that every year have a fire that they're recovering from the year prior and have another fire in their neighborhood the next year. It's difficult. As you heard today, New Mexico is on fire today. This is no longer a California problem. California, Oregon, New Mexico, Colorado, Texas, climate change is here, it's real, and it's happening throughout this nation. At OES, we are sending strike teams to help our colleagues over in New Mexico. That includes the response side and potentially some recovery support teams as well. We take this threat serious. We were able to get over hundreds of millions of dollars in programs to help capacity build and technical assistance, like the Listos program, Listos, California, Ready, California. Like the trailers that you see behind me today, able to go to those communities most in need, most vulnerable, to help them make a plan, to help them with vegetative management ideas and chipping, et cetera. Millions of dollars going towards local CERT programs to be developed to respond to this ongoing threat. Prepare California, first in its kind, was established this year as well. $100 million, $15 million of that was California Jumpstart. This is to help communities in high-risk areas for disasters, including high-risk and social vulnerability, to hire things like a chief resiliency officer to prepare for that threat, whatever that threat may be in that community. $85 million of Prepare California is to assist those communities most in need to apply for FEMA grants to harden their community and pay the cost share with Prepare California. Home hardening, first in its kind as well, working with our partners at CAL FIRE, is designed to do the same in those most vulnerable communities, help them home harden their home. We have 3 demonstration projects about to start. One's in San Diego, one's in Shasta, and just this last Tuesday we announced Lake County as well. The idea is we want to be in every county as we move this program forward. It's a community program. It's not just one home, it's a whole community, making California resilient. We can't prevent fires from happening, but we can definitely try to ensure that we don't lose a community after community after community, year after year after year. These programs are designed to help with vegetative management, designed, you heard from CAL FIRE, to shore up those homes so those ambers can't get into those weaker spots. That's what this is designed to do, and I look forward, as progress are made in these programs, to let you all know how great these programs can be. So just know when the fire strikes or the earth shakes, we'll be here with you. So with that, I want to welcome Nicole Williams, the Assistant Director at United States Forest Service.
As Ryan mentioned, my name is Nicole Williams. I'm Assistant Director for Fire and Aviation Management at the USDA Forest Service, Pacific Southwest region. On behalf, I feel like I need to move that a little bit. On behalf of the USDA Forest Service, I am honored to be here today during Wildfire Preparedness Week to recognize our long-standing partnership with California Fire Safe Council. Our organizations have been challenged in the past decade in new and complex ways. From the pandemic that has persisted for more than 2 years to now back-to-back intense extended wildfire seasons that we just emerged from. Our commitment to teamwork gives us the strength to endure. The size and scope of many of the wildfires in California last year continue to set records. Together, we fought fires earlier in the summer, responded to them later in the year. We responded to more fires burning at the same time. We dealt with extreme weather conditions and with intense fire activity during evening periods. With 2022 shaping up to be another challenging fire year, we are prepared to employ a full suppression strategy on initial attack. We have a 98% success rate of extinguishing fires when we catch them early. And for fires that develop quickly, we devote every available resource to putting them out as quickly as possible. I want to make clear that the Forest Service does not have a let it burn strategy, and we never have. Every fire is managed with a strategy considering the resources available, the values at risk, and the needs of other incident managers. I want to emphasize that our firefighters are not alone in this work. All Californians have a stake in this work and a part to play. We ask everyone to be vigilant in creating defensible space around homes and property now, and to take care to prevent human-caused ignitions. As an agency, we are preparing in every possible way. We are actively hiring wildland fires to maximize our firefighting capability. The new 10-year wildfire crisis strategy is driving tens of millions of dollars in investment to enhance fuel treatments on our forests and generate conditions which will be more resilient to fire. Under this strategy, we will continue to identify high-risk landscapes in California for targeted treatment. Recently, the Stanislaus and Tahoe National Forests were selected as the first two landscapes in California to receive these investments in fuel reduction and restoration. What can you do? More than 90% of all fires are human-caused. We need you now more than ever to prepare for and prevent wildfires this year. Your proactive efforts can prevent fires from starting and can exponentially reduce the movement and intensity of fires when they do ignite. There are many preparedness and prevention actions that you can take now. Create defensible space. This means cutting and removing vegetation in a 100 to 200 foot radius around the perimeter of a house or other structure. This reduces the threat posed by an oncoming wildfire and provides firefighters with an opportunity to effectively defend the building. Use fire-wise landscaping and fire-resistant building materials. This will increase the chance of your home surviving in a wildfire. Focus on the 5-foot zone. This immediate 5-foot area around a home is critical for addressing clearance. Homeowners should begin work immediately around their home's 5-foot zone and work outward from there when treating landscape for defensible space. Proper clearance dramatically increases the chance of your house surviving a wildfire, and defensible space also helps firefighters stay safe when they are working to protect homes during a wildfire. The goal is to break the chain of flammable fuel between your home and the forest. Examine your yard. What can catch fire or carry sparks to your house? Know before you go and check your local fire restrictions. Be extra cautious with any possible ignition source. For example, do not park on overgrown grass. Secure tow chains to make sure that they do not drag on the ground. And thoroughly drown campfires and barbecues to make sure they are completely extinguished before walking away. Create an evacuation plan for your family and practice it so that you will be ready, set, go when wildfires occurs and an evacuation is ordered. You are our greatest asset in preventing wildfire. Your actions protect not just you and your family, but your neighbors and your community. Again, we are all in this together and depend on each other to help keep Californians safe. It is now my honor to introduce a representative from Senator Feinstein's office, Field Representative Dominic Faria.
Good morning. My name is Dominic Faria. I'm one of Senator Feinstein's Northern California field representatives. It's a pleasure for me to be here today and to share with you the following brief remarks on behalf of the Senator. Senator Feinstein has been a longtime supporter of the California Fire Safe Council and supports its role in a community wildfire risk reduction and resiliency. It supports its role, as a leader in community wildfire risk reduction and resiliency. The Senator and her staff, including myself, value tremendously the relationships we formed and the ongoing communication that we have with the Council. It is now universally accepted that our climate is changing. And with that brings an increase in the frequency and severity of wildfires in California. Our fire season is getting longer, and more lives and property are threatened. 7 of the 10 most destructive fires in state history have occurred in just the last decade. This is why Senator Feinstein is championing legislation to promote and incentivize wildfire mitigation efforts and protect our communities. I'll discuss several of them with you briefly. Senator Feinstein's Wildfire Emergency Act primarily aims to increase wildfire mitigation efforts and to protect communities. Her Community Wood Facilities Assistance Act would promote the use of small diameter wood products left over from forest thinning projects, and the Senator's Wildland Firefighter Fair Pay Act would ensure federal wildland firefighters receive pay for all of the brave and critical work that they do, which is actually not the law today. We're already seeing some of the Senator's efforts bear fruit. The Biden administration's bipartisan infrastructure law included $8 billion in forest management and wildfire risk reduction. It included $1 billion in wildfire risk reduction grants that will go directly to communities. We've also secured $600 million to hire more firefighters and give them a much-needed pay raise, which we hope will help with recruitment and retention. We have the science, the expertise, the experience to fight these wildfires, but it will take cooperation for us to succeed, and that includes federal, state, and local governments, our nonprofit partners, even individual citizens who can make a real impact on wildfire mitigation and resilience. On behalf of Senator Feinstein, I want to thank Haiti and everyone at the California Fire Safe Council for the important work that you all do. I also want to thank our partners here today who are committed to working together to tackle this complex and critically important issue for California. Please know that Senator Feinstein remains steadfast in her commitment to confronting the threat of wildfire head-on by using every tool at the federal government's disposal. Thank you very much. And it is my honor to introduce to you Danielle Bradfield, Sierra County Coordinator for the California Fire Safe Council, County Coordinator Grantee. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Danielle Bradfield. I am the County Coordinator for Sierra County. I'm also a California Registered Professional Forester. Since receiving the County Coordinator grant in Sierra County, I can say that the capacity of our wildfire mitigation coordination staff has doubled, which really means the dedicated staff grew from 0 to 2. Bear in mind, we are a county of 3,000 residents. So though we're small, we have many wildfire groups and entities and agencies, everyone doing really great work, but those that are involved wear a lot of hats. Their plates are full. At the end of any given day, there's just not enough time to coordinate and collaborate with others who are actually working on a lot of the same efforts and have common goals and objectives. So the County Coordinator Grant has provided Sierra County with that dedicated staff in the form of the County Coordinator in my role, and then also an outreach specialist that helps me immensely in this effort. To date, we've been able to take a census of the existing wildfire mitigation efforts in the county. Through that effort, which was so very worthwhile, we've been able to identify redundancies where they exist. We've been working to alleviate some of those. We've been identifying voids and obstacles in our overall wildfire preparation efforts, and kind of having that 30,000-foot view of all of the wildfire mitigation efforts in the county. We've also identified some commonalities amongst different stakeholders and entities and their efforts, and kind of combining efforts where it makes sense and coalescing those efforts just to increase the efficiency. And as part of that, we've been able to just refocus some of these efforts, reprioritize, and make sure that we have a strategic path forward. So ultimately, with the County Coordinator Grant in Sierra County, if I had to capture it in one sentence, I would say it is really, because of that funding, it's provided a very focused and strategic pathway to increase wildfire preparation in Sierra County. And on behalf of the county, we certainly extend our gratitude to the State Fire Safe Council in regards to their support and making this opportunity possible. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Danielle. And in wrapping up today, please remember that Sacramento is celebrating the big day of giving today. So consider donating to the California Fire Safe Council so we can continue providing this essential funding and offering assistance to our fire safe councils and other groups, which will help us all keep California fire safe. You can donate today at cafiresafecouncil.org. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at CA FireSafe. You can find us on Facebook and LinkedIn at CA FireSafe Council, and sign up for our newsletter for information and updates at cafiresafecouncil.org. Thank you so much to everybody for being here today. I want to thank our amazing staff, volunteers, local fire safe councils, all of our partners and speakers here today, Cal OES Deputy Director Ryan Burris, Cal Fire Assistant Deputy Director Steve Hawks, Corona Fire Department Fire Chief Brian Young, U.S. Forest Service Assistant Director Karen Kufta. Sorry, Nicole, that was an old note. Sorry, Nicole, forgive me. Senator Dianne Feinstein's Representative Dominic Faria, and our County Coordinator for Sierra County, Danielle Bradfield. I'm going to open the floor for any questions. And again, thank you so much for being here today. Okay, going once. I have a question. Oh, no, you're just holding the mic. Going once, going twice. All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody. We'll be in the back if you want to have any follow-up conversations, discussions, or questions. Appreciate it so much. Be safe.